Hey guys, we're going to do blog number 4 today, and we're doing it in my hot mess of a studio. This is where I draw. I like to have inspiration up around me, and I also collect some cute things, and I live in a constant state of chaos. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about whether or not you're an artist. And I think Mike over at Mike Not Jerry with Jerry's Artorama has some really excellent things to say about that. And if you are interested in art, I highly recommend you check that channel out. I don't normally recommend brand channels except for educational stuff, but Mike's doing a lot of really good stuff, and I think it deserves some recognition. I think more artists and art enthusiasts need to be aware of it, and I'm a firm believer in promoting good stuff instead of just complaining about stuff. I know I complain a lot, but like, you know, trying to even it out with some promotion. I'm not affiliated with Jerry's Artorama in any way, shape, or form. I do give them a lot of my business. The Nashville store is great. I love going out there. There's something really magical for me about going to art supply stores that shopping online is just never, ever as good. So if you have a Jerry's in your area, I highly recommend you check that out as well. And I'm sorry if there's a little bit of shaky cam. I'm actually using a selfie stick that I got for free as a monopod, and it doesn't reach all the way to the ground. So I'm like holding it in between my knees and kind of propping it against my chair. But I wanted to try filming inside, and I wanted to show you guys at least some of my workspace while talking to you guys today about whether or not you are an artist. So a few months ago, really more like a year ago, I really sort of got interested in watching craft videos, craft tutorials, for like stampers, inkers, those sort of people. I started reviewing more craft supplies from an artist point of view over on the blog, so I was doing a lot of research. And something that I noticed that kept popping up that drove me absolutely bonkers, like really made me angry, was these people who would say, you don't have to be an artist when you're showing somebody when they were showing someone a technique. And I was like, wow, insulting much? Like, gee, how patronizing are you? You really need to think about what you're saying there. And I say this as someone who considers herself an artist. I do not consider myself a fine artist. That is an important distinction, and that was rubbed in my face quite thoroughly when I was in undergrad. I had a professor who like pretty much made it a point every single day to tell me that I was never going to succeed as a professional artist, and that my attitude was all wrong and I didn't think about it the right way. And the reason for that is I like commercial art. Like, I legitimately like commercial art. I like commercial illustration. I like graphic design, even though I'm terrible at it. I really feel like art should be for people, not for some patron who can pay you thousands of dollars, not for the piece to go live/die in a museum, not to, you know, sit forever unchanged and untouched. I think art is something that should be for everyone, should be accessible to everyone, and there should be pieces that speak to everyone. And to get to that point, we need more artists. And unfortunately, as an artist, I can say there just isn't really the audience willing to pay for what we do, even if it's priced extremely affordably. And that's something we're just going to have to change. And now, to be an artist, you don't have to do it professionally. You don't have to do it for anybody but you. If you enjoy doing it, if the supplies make you happy, if you can be satisfied with your results, that's really all that matters. For me, there is a kind of like a weird gray area for stampers because, you know, you're using somebody else's line art, so that's kind of and if all you're doing is coloring it in and you're not transforming it in some way, it's like, but you know, I respect that a lot of people derive a lot of enjoyment out of doing that, and I consider graphic artists to be artists. So if I consider graphic artists who are people who are often like graphic designers to be artists, so if I think of them as artists, and those are people who are using other people's elements and their own elements to make a cohesive whole, then I need to consider stampers and crafters artists as well, because they are combining their own artistic sensibilities, their own taste in colors, their own color palette with somebody else's designs to make something new and unique. So by that definition, stampers and crafters are also artists in my book. Basically, all of you guys are artists. You are artists. And, you know, I know a lot of you, um, you feel the need to put a caveat in front of it, you know, or a distinction in front of it, as though you're afraid somebody is going to attack you for what you do. And as a comic artist, I've been attacked for what I do a lot. Like, even you can be a professional artist. You can be somebody who has 6 years of art education like I do. You can have a master's degree in something, and you can put art out daily, and you can make money from your art, and you can make a living from your art, and you can still be attacked for what you do. That doesn't make you less of an artist. And so those of you who are like, well, I'm an amateur artist, or I'm an aspiring artist, it's like, no, you're an artist. You're putting that time in. You are stretching your skills, you're learning new things, you're trying new things, you're an artist. Don't let other people talk down to you or make you feel like you're less. So what if your art doesn't appeal to them? You know, there are amazing artists whose work does, like, I don't really care for Frank Franzetta, to be quite frank. And I have several of his books on my shelf because I can appreciate that his technical skill is amazing, but quite honestly, I find it a little bit sexist and offensive, you know? That's okay. Like, it's not for me. And there are, when I was in grad school, there were a lot of people who didn't like my stuff, like, at all. Like, thought I should just give up and go home, you know? Not for it, but there are also people, and I meet them at every con I do, who my work really speaks to them, and they love it, and, you know, they want more of it, and they wish there was more of it. And so when I'm making things, I try to make the sort of things that I would have wanted when I was younger that weren't available, that weren't accessible to me in the US, in rural Louisiana. And I think that is part of being an artist, is making things that can fill a need either for yourself or for other people. And for me as an artist, communication is super important, which is why I do the blog and why I did it for 7 years, and why I was getting so frustrated and depressed when the blog wasn't really starting the conversations I wanted it to start. And so I took my voice to Twitter, and I really enjoy using Twitter, and I've had some phenomenal conversations on Twitter about art and craft and comics and all sorts of things. I love Twitter. Not everybody loves Twitter, but I do. The comic community on Twitter is pretty great. And I'm starting to really love YouTube as well. And one of the things that kind of opened the door for me with communication and YouTube is these vlogs. And I would not call these vlogs art necessarily, but they have some of the same hallmarks that I consider art to be. It requires courage to put myself out here. I mean, look, this is a mess. This is a cluttered mess, but this is my mess, and this is how I like to work. And I'm sure I'm opening myself up to some pretty nasty comments, right? Anytime you put yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there for other people to have the opportunity to ridicule you. But on the same token, you're putting yourself out there for someone else who's lonely to identify with you, to give somebody else courage or give somebody else a friend. So just like with my art, these vlogs require me to be honest, and they require me to be honest with myself, which is sometimes hard, and they require me to open up and put myself out there and risk people pointing out all of my flaws, of which there are many, you know, I'm a human. But they also give me the opportunity to talk directly with you guys about things that don't really belong in like my tutorials, and I'm hoping that these vlogs will help give me a place to talk about those things, and we can just focus on the tutorial and the tutorial. I'm still learning how to do this, you know. This is kind of new for me, and there are a lot of artists on YouTube, but I wanted to bring something different to the table as much as I could, and something that was personal to me. And I'm a really shy person in person and in real life. And at conventions, sometimes my anxiety gets the better of me until the con's in full swing. And it's really hard for me to interact with people who I admire, because I'm just always afraid of, you know, the definitive, you don't belong in the club kind of thing, right? From somebody I actually really admire and respect, not just like somebody's like, whatever, I don't care, I don't like your stuff either. But these vlogs kind of allow me to be more of me in a public setting than I'm normally comfortable with. So, I mean, not too many people have actually seen the inside of my studio. Now, I guess more people have. I guess maybe like 10 total at most. because it's a mess, so I'm sensitive about that, and it's also very private to me, and I don't want to have to stop everything I'm doing to clean up my studio just because somebody's visiting. And this is upstairs and it's out of the way, so I just shut the door and I don't invite people in. But I've invited you guys in because I think of you guys as my friends, and you guys have been so wonderful in the comments of these past 2 vlogs that it gave me the courage to open up a little bit more and to show you the space that I work in. The messy space. And I kind of have a doll collection. Well, I like cute things, you guys have seen that. So we kind of got off topic, but that's okay. That's what these vlogs can be for too. Are you an artist? Yes. Do you enjoy drawing? You're an artist. Do you enjoy color? You're an artist. Do you enjoy texture? You're an artist. Do you enjoy composition? You're an artist. You're an artist. And hopefully my channel can help you refine the skills that will give you the confidence to own being an artist. But as an artist, you have responsibilities too. So a few years ago, I thought really long and hard about my obligations to my fellow comic artists and my obligations to my fellow convention artists, and I realized I wasn't really living up to my part of the deal. I was expecting a lot of support, but I wasn't giving as much support as I could have, so I decided to really up my ante, and I really want to challenge you guys to do the same thing. First of all, if you enjoy my art, if you enjoy my videos, and you've never been to a convention before, I would really like you to make it a point to go to some form of a nerd convention. I'm not even kidding. I'm really serious. I would like you to go and give that a shot. Many cities have little indie comic cons. I would really like it if you guys went and checked out other people's stuff and talked to people and talked to them about the stuff they're working on. Many cities have an anime con, so if you've got kids who'd be interested in that, take them and go to the artist alley, not just the dealer's room. The dealer's room is all the mass-produced stuff. Go to the artist alley and talk to people. And don't just assume that because all they have up is fan art, that that's all they do. Because at anime cons, that tends to be all that sells. It takes a brave artist to put their comic out there, because that space that could be filled with fan art prints that are going to sell like that. Whereas the comic, you really have to work hard at that. So talk to people and find out what they're about and find out what they like and kind of reserve your judgment. Just go and learn, or go to like a superhero con. Most of them are becoming media events with no real artists, but there's still cons like Heroes Con out there. Go to shows like that and again, talk to the artists. Take yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're a convention artist, get out from behind your table and talk to the other artists in the alley. If you think if you're concerned that you're not good enough, don't worry about that. Just get around and talk and make friends. Most of us, when we have a face and a voice to put with a name, it makes a big difference. And maybe if you're the sort of person who is an artist and you look down on other artists, maybe reserve that judgment. Just like put that aside, because some of the artists in that alley are not going to have had the advantages that you have, may not have had the encouragement or the upbringing. You don't know what's going on in their life, so get around and talk to them and find out what's going on in a kind way, in a friendly way. Put yourself out there and be supportive. If you already do stuff like that, if you're a fellow artist, try to spend a little money on your other artists, especially if you're the sort of person who expects people to spend money on you. When you're an artist, when you're a convention artist, the community you help foster, that means the customer base that you're participating in, you're going to receive, that's going to reflect back on you. You're going to see that. So if you sit at your table and you talk smack about other artists, that's going to come back to bite you in the butt. But if you talk glowingly about other artists and you recommend other artists and you're friends with other artists, that's going to shine back on you in a positive way. Another thing is try to promote each other's videos. If you are an online artist, share that kind of stuff to your Twitter, to your Tumblr, to your Facebook. It's really helped me out a lot. I've met a lot of friends that way. Follow Friday has been great to me. So it allows you to make connections. Most of us are very lonely people, and we use our art as a way to protect ourselves and to communicate with other people. And making those small gestures can really go a long way, and it can help make you braver and give you a friend base who you can turn to for critique and who you can turn to for advice and who you can turn to for help. So as always, it's great seeing you. welcome to my studio. I'm Becca Hilburn. Thank you guys for hanging out and thanks for watching this vlog. You are an artist. I'll see you guys later. Bye!